Welcome to Rauta's Vinyl Monday. This time we have a black metal release from Finland. This band in question is Aethyrick with the fourth album, Pilgrimage. And this is a band that has been active for the past couple of years. And they have been pretty goddamn active with their releases. Including this year, 2022, the band has put out 3 albums in 3 years and one before that, so this is fourth full album. Now the previous one, Apotheosis, was in fact my favorite of all the things the band has done so far, and the two previous ones are pretty good as well. Now, even though the band hasn't really changed its style, something has changed, because in fact, I don't want to be the negative Joe here, but this is the least good of all the things the band has to offer. The funny thing is, the lineup has remained the same, the label has remained the same, and even the band's style is more or less the same, and yet these are not all of the same quality. So, when a certain Finnish black metal band ended its career a few years ago, Aethyrick just happened to come into existence in 2016, and since that they did a couple of demos and then started doing albums. So 2018 come, Praxis is right there, then a compilation featuring earlier recordings, and then it's all the way full-length albums one after another. Now this might sound and seem like a really fast pace, but I think the deal here is this is not an active band when it comes to gigs and all that stuff. And then again, COVID leaves a lot of people a lot of time to do more music, and I guess that explains a lot. But this time it might seem like this big amount of time, a lot to do and stuff like that, having fast pace with the music has turned out into a little bit more sour than what it used to be. Now, I might sound really negative here, I get it, but I want to emphasize it's not so much like this is a bad album, because on the other hand, this is in fact quite good. But comparing to the previous work by the band, this 8-track of an album isn't exactly that good as the band used to be. I'll try to explain the style here, but obviously you need to listen to understand and then maybe do some comparing in order to figure out whether or not I'm talking the truth here or just talking shit out of my ass. The thing here is, Aethyrick is doing kind of a melodic black metal in rather atmospheric ways. There are lots of parts which then again remind of Burzum, then again a lot of parts which are even more on the atmospheric side and less roar-end than what Burzum did when Burzum was still doing black metal in the first place. Some of these riffs, some of these melodies are actually quite beautiful, and there are melancholic moments when Pilgrimage is actually sounding quite good. I mean, like, real good. But there are lots of parts when it feels like this album is filled with fillers. Now, obviously it's not filled with fillers, but there are too many filler points to make it sound like that. Then there are keyboard parts which I didn't actually even pay attention to because they are so, I would like to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, useless. That is, they're there to just create a layer which is kind of meaningless in the big picture. So there's that. Tempo goes from faster parts to slower parts and then faster again. Not exactly super slow. We're not talking about Doom here, but kind of a mid-tempo parts. But in comparison to faster parts, it really sounds like the band is slowing down. And that might be a little bit of a mistake, if you will. Take it in the quotation marks if you need to. What I mean is, when the band actually slows down and loses their energy and the flow is kind of gone, it becomes kind of evident that some of these riffs are just filling the gaps. They're nothing good here, but they're kind of a mediocrity even. And that combined with a little bit of okay-ish production. Not exactly super crisp and clear, not exactly raw, but somewhere in the middle, it becomes kind of evident that there are lots of riffs which are not that good. Then you have these vocals which are, once again, somewhere between the extreme bad and extreme good. They're just doing their job with the kind of a lack of energy type of raspy vocals. I mean, they don't bother me, but I cannot really praise them and be honest at the same time. So there's a lot of things which are just quite okay. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not okay with okay albums. I don't spend my time with them. So it feels like a shame with Aethyrick doing its kind of a first lazy album compared to the two first ones, which were kind of a promising, and then doing actual good one, and now dropping a couple of levels down. Once again, I'm gonna say this is quite a decent album overall, because there are those really nice melodies and parts where it feels like this isn't mediocrity, this is beyond that. But when you have mediocre parts and some good parts, the end result is somewhere in between, if that makes sense. So for fans of Aethyrick, this is definitely a must-hear and maybe even must-have album. But if you're much like me, that you really need to have that good drift, good flow, and overall good result in order to enjoy any given album, then this might be a disappointment. So decent, not mediocre, not good, but somewhere in between. Take my word for it or don't, I don't really care, because you need to decide for yourself. So check out the links provided if you know more about the music, and if you like it, physical version is to go with. Beautiful covers, I can give it that. So check it out and let me know what you think. See you soon with more reviews coming your way.